And away we go, episode 1230 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Friday, January 2nd, 2026. It is the first show of a new year. We say Happy New Year. 2026 is underway. A year in which we will celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States of America. The USA's 250th birthday, known as the United States Semi-Quincentennial, or America 250, is on July 4th. 2026, marking the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Yes, this country will begin its age 250 season this coming July 4th. The Washington Commanders, they are wrapping up the 94th season in the history of the franchise, which began in 1932 as the Boston Braves. And this season, number 94, of course, has not been so good. Hello and welcome to this Friday installment of the Al Galdi podcast. We have the 4-12 Commanders at the 11-5 Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday afternoon at 4:25 in Week 18 of the NFL's 2025 regular season. Next segment, a breakdown of the Commanders' latest injury report for this season finale, as it has become quite clear who the team's starting quarterback for the game will be. Also, discussion of a variety of topics off comments from Kliff Kingsbury during what was perhaps his final press conference as Commanders' offensive coordinator, including Kingsbury on his head coaching candidacy, quarterback Jayden Daniels season, Kingsbury's regrets about this season, Kingsbury's heavy usage of no-huddle, and what running back Jacory Croskey-Merritt can be. I'll also talk about linebacker Jordan Magee off comments from head coach Dan Quinn. The following segment, the season finale of Rhyming Keys, as I will conduct Rhyming Keys for the Commanders in this game at the Eagles to do some good things, but lose as we are concluding Operation Lose Out 2.0. Will we get a successful conclusion to Operation Lose Out 2.0? And I'll give you a prediction for the game. Also on the show, I'll talk Washington Capitals, Washington Wizards, and college basketball. The Caps, they over the last 2 days went 1-1-0 over two afternoon games. Wednesday afternoon, New Year's Eve afternoon, a 6-3 win over the New York Rangers at Capital One Arena. Thursday afternoon, New Year's Day afternoon, a 4-3 loss at the Ottawa Senators. The Caps at the end of the first period held a 2-0 lead. They then lost the rest of the game 4-1. Our rebuilding and tanking Wizards, they now are 5-4 over their last 9 games. A 114-113 win at the Milwaukee Bucks on Wednesday night. And we in college basketball on Wednesday had some notable games. Georgetown suffered a 95-83 loss to St. John's at Capital One Arena on Wednesday night. Virginia Tech pulled off a 95-85 triple overtime win over number 21 Virginia at Castle Coliseum in Blacksburg, Virginia on Wednesday afternoon. What a game that was. And George Mason made program history with an 80-75 win at LaSalle on Wednesday afternoon. I shall explain. Before we get to feedback, some college football. Navy's bowl game is on Friday. Navy versus Cincinnati in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee on Friday afternoon at 4:30. The consensus line for this game per Action Network as of Thursday afternoon was Navy minus 7.5. So one of the nice things with the Service Academy football teams is that they do not have the truckload of players opting out of bowl games like non-Service Academy football teams have. And among those teams is Cincinnati, which per reports has at least a dozen players who have opted out of this game. Principal among those players is Cincinnati's QB1, Brendan Sorsby, who per 24/7 Sports is the number 1 overall player in the NCAA transfer portal. Also, he may enter the 2026 NFL draft, but give me Navy minus 7.5, a Goldilocks selection. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Feedback off our conversation on Wednesday's show, episode 1229 with Washington, D.C. sports radio legend Andy Pollin, host of the Andy Pollin Show on ESPN 630, on if the Commanders' 2025 season is the franchise's most disappointing season since the end of the Redskins' glory days, and on why legendary former Skins offensive lineman Joe Jacoby still is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. From Drew on X, writes Drew, "This was fantastic. Andy's recall and or preparation of Skins history is phenomenal." Thank you for that, Drew. Agreed. That's why I had Andy on the podcast. He was an ideal guest for this conversation. From Craig on X, writes Craig, "What a treat that podcast was. Loved every second, especially the walk down Redskins / football team / Commanders misery lane, and the case you each made for Joe Jacoby as a no-brainer Hall of Fame candidate. Thank you for that, Craig. From Stephen Daniel on X on me saying that for me, the Skins' 2013 season is the franchise's most disappointing season since the end of the glory days. So, right, Stephen, 2013 was the season that I really lost all hope. Realized even with a, quote, real, end quote, GM and a great coaching staff that the owner would still find a way to kneecap the situation. Hope is back, but still very queasy and uncertain. I have tried to just enjoy and buy in now. And by the way, the taste of that era is still infused in our roster. Just so many wasted draft picks, it will take a great deal of time and nerves to climb to the peak again. HTTR, HTTC. Thank you for that, Stephen. For me, the most disappointing season for the franchise since the end of the glory days. So we're looking at the 1993 through 2025 seasons is the 2013 season because of the ugliness and what it meant. The ugliness, the infighting, the politics between the owner, Dan Snyder, the executive vice president / head coach Mike Shanahan, and the QB1 Robert Griffin III. So much ugliness, so much pettiness, so much immature behavior. All three guys came out of that season looking so bad. I am thankful that as bad as this Commanders 2025 season is, it, as far as we know, features zero ugliness along the lines of what we had in 2013. Email from Reese Davis with Reese spelled R-H-Y-S on Commanders kicker Jake Moody. Writes Reese, hello, Al. Happy late birthday. Hope you're doing well. When I was at school recently, a lot of people were talking about how bad Jake Moody is and that he should be released. But I seem to be the only one in the discussion who sided with Moody, though I don't think he is the Commanders' long-term answer at kicker. I don't want Adam Peters to just get rid of Moody. He missed that extra point in the win at the Giants, but if you see the video of the kick, the ball takes a sharp right turn after it was on track to go through the uprights. So this, due to the bad conditions and the wind, I don't think the miss was on Moody. He just got an unlucky gust of wind. I think people should be giving him more praise for connecting on multiple mid-range field goal attempts in the wind than doubting his future in Washington because of a PAT that didn't seem to be his fault. What do you think? The podcast is awesome. I listen every day. Thanks for following D.C. area sports so that we don't have to. Well, thank you very much for that, Reese. The Commanders on November 18th announced having signed Jake Moody off the Chicago Bears practice squad. He, with the Commanders, is 9 for 9 on field goals and 7 for 8 on extra points. He, during his time with our team, has done a good job. And remember, he in the last game, the 30-23 loss to the Dallas Cowboys at Northwest Stadium on Christmas afternoon, went 3 for 3 on field goals and 2 for 2 on extra points, including connecting on a 51-yard field goal with 2:09 left in the fourth quarter. And it was really good to see him hit that 51-yarder, what was his first field goal attempt of at least 50 yards since being acquired by the Commanders. Moody came to the team having gone just 54 for 71 on field goals in NFL regular season games, including just 6 for 12 on field goal attempts of at least 50 yards. Now, to Reese's point, is Jake Moody the Commanders' long-term kicker? Yeah, I'm not ready to say that. But, his only big-time screw-ups as a Commanders kicker came in that 29-21 win at the New York Giants on December 14th. Moody missed the extra point attempt for receiver Jalen Lane's 63-yard punt return for a touchdown with 1:05 left in the second quarter. And then, as you may recall, Moody on the ensuing kickoff committed a kickoff out-of-bounds penalty, giving the Giants the ball at their 40 with 1:05 left in the second quarter. But other than those two mishaps on back-to-back snaps, Jake Moody has done well. If you have a case, contact the Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers, and mention that Al Galdi sent you. You could call 202-902-7611. You could also visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and submit for a free, no-obligation case review. The Nace Law Group features compassionate lawyers and zealous advocates for its clients, led by the great Chris Nace and founded in 1979. The Nace Law Group is a Washington, D.C.-based family law firm that handles medical malpractice, personal injury, birth injury, legal malpractice, and consumer protection cases, offering aggressive advocacy for victims in Washington, D.C. and West Virginia. The Nace Law Group is outstanding. It will fight for you and your family. The Nace Law Group has recovered millions of dollars for the sick and injured. If you have a case, contact the Nace Law Group. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group, Accident and Injury Lawyers. Hey, if you happen to be listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can write a review of the podcast saying that you like it. The review can be just a sentence or two, but the reviews help out the podcast a lot. Thank you for doing them. Week 18 of the NFL's 2025 regular season gives us the 4-12 Washington Commanders at the 11-5 Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday afternoon at 4:25. The Commanders practiced on Thursday afternoon. 7 Commanders offensive players were listed on the team's injury report for Thursday afternoon's practice. On offense, quarterback Jayden Daniels. He on Thursday afternoon was a limited participant in practice for a second consecutive day. Daniels has continued to practice during this time of having been shut down for the rest of the season while recovering from an injured left elbow. Quarterback Marcus Mariota, he on Thursday afternoon did not practice for a second consecutive day, this off being inactive for the Commanders' last game, the 30-23 loss to the Dallas Cowboys at Northwest Stadium on Christmas afternoon due to hand and quadriceps injuries. It is very much looking like the QB3, Josh Johnson, will be the Commanders' starting quarterback for a second consecutive game. Left tackle Laramie Tunsil, he on Thursday afternoon did not practice for a second consecutive day, this off being inactive for the last 2 games due to an oblique injury. There is no need for him to play again this season. Laramie Tunsil, franchise left tackle. The Commanders appear likely to sign him to a big money contract extension this offseason. Shut him down if he has not been shut down already. Offensive tackle / guard Brandon Coleman, he on Thursday afternoon was a limited participant in practice due to a knee ailment. This off him not being on the injury report for Wednesday afternoon's practice. There is illness going around the Commanders because why wouldn't there be in this season of the team having been ripped apart by injury? But running back Jacory Croskey-Merritt, he on Thursday afternoon was a full participant in practice, but this is off him not practicing on Wednesday afternoon due to illness. Receiver Traylon Burks, he on Thursday afternoon did not practice due to illness, so this off him not being on the injury report for Wednesday afternoon's practice. And offensive tackle George Fant, he on Thursday afternoon was a full participant in practice for a second consecutive day, this despite having a knee problem. And 3 Commanders defensive players were listed on the team's injury report for Thursday afternoon's practice. Interior defensive lineman Deron Payne, he on Thursday afternoon was a full participant in practice for a second consecutive day, this off him being inactive for the loss to the Cowboys on Christmas due to a back injury. Linebacker Bobby Wagner, he on Thursday afternoon was a full participant in practice. He did not practice on Wednesday afternoon. He has been dealing with a knee issue. And linebacker and special teams ace Nick Bellore, he on Thursday afternoon was a full participant in practice for a second consecutive day, this off him being inactive for the loss to the Cowboys on Christmas due to a concussion. Let's bottom line this. 0 reason to risk worsening injury or causing injury with any key Commanders players in this game. That the team is better off losing, okay? Let's be honest. In this game, that the team is better off losing. The belief is that the Eagles for this game will be resting a number of key players, including QB1 Jalen Hurts. During Commanders head coach Dan Quinn's pre-practice press conference on Wednesday afternoon, had this exchange between Commanders insider Tom Shad of the Washington Post and Quinn.
Off the top, the magnitude of this game and had visions of this having more magnitude on the season. When the schedule came out, it sounds like Philly might rest a bunch of starters, including quarterback. If that's the case, is that another shot to the magnitude of this game, or does that change anything for you guys?
Not for us. By no means are we at full strength, nor are most teams in the NFL during Week 18. But what I do love is the number of guys that are really hungry for this opportunity, chance to compete together. We had so many players miss time that they want a chance to express themselves and to prove it. And so when you miss games and stretches of games, man, you're hungry for that competition, you're hungry for that space. And so in our league, we practice way more than we play. And so they want to be able to go play. And I love that about our guys. So we had a hard battle with them 2 weeks ago, and I expect another hard battle Sunday. And that's kind of how I see it.
All right, meantime, Commanders offensive coordinator Kliff Kingsbury, he late Thursday morning did a pre-practice press conference, perhaps his final press conference as Commanders offensive coordinator. This was his final scheduled session with reporters this season. He is not expected to speak to reporters next week, and he is viewed as an NFL head coaching candidate. Read to you from ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler in an ESPN.com piece that came out on Wednesday morning. Quote, Kingsbury's head coaching candidacy is interesting despite Washington's struggles. The Commanders ranked 21st in total offense ahead of Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh, despite a poor supporting cast ravaged by injury. He's a potential fit in Tennessee with a young quarterback in Cam Ward who fits his style of offense. Las Vegas, should that job open, as many around the league expect, will take a hard look at improving its offense. Kingsbury has been selective but is also open to becoming a head coach again. So while he's not the shiniest name because of Washington's record, I could see him being in the mix again, end quote. We on Thursday morning had this exchange between Commanders insider Nikki Javala of The Athletic and Kliff Kingsbury.
Since we won't get a chance to talk to you beyond this before the offseason, how open are you to becoming a head coach again, and would you be open to teams pursuing you?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to kind of cross that bridge, when and if we get there, but the focus right now is still just trying to beat Philly, and, I'm really excited to work with Josh one more time. It's been really fun to see an older guy like that, the excitement he has to be able to start these games. Most of the games he's coming in his career, he hadn't had a week of preparation. So it's just kind of been thrown in there and like, here you go get him. So this has been cool to see his preparation and try to see if we can get him out there and play at a high level again.
All right, so a very political, very safe answer from Kliff Kingsbury, exactly what he should have said from his perspective. And by the way, Kingsbury right there very much indicated that Josh Johnson will be the Commanders' starting quarterback for this game at the Eagles this Sunday. Kliff Kingsbury last offseason, of course, removed himself from head coaching consideration. I'd be stunned if he did that for a second consecutive offseason. He is not the hot candidate that he was this past offseason, even though he this season, to me, has done a better job than people realize. I read what Jeremy Fowler wrote, but how about this? The Commanders for this regular season through Week 17 are number 16 in the NFL in total offense in terms of expected points added per play per RBSDM.com, and are number 12 in the NFL in yards per play. Not bad considering that this offense has been walloped by injury, including the QB1, Jayden Daniels, playing in just 7 games in this regular season. And speaking of Daniels, a good bit of the Kliff Kingsbury pre-practice press conference on Thursday morning was about Daniels. We, during the presser, had this back and forth between Commanders insider John Keim of ESPN and Kingsbury, and then you'll hear a back and forth between David Aldridge of The Athletic and Kingsbury.
I am curious, and maybe this would take, we probably won't get to talk to you next week, so how would you assess Jayden's season? Is it hard to assess it given the stops and starts for him? It
is, yeah. I think incomplete. Just how it went. It's an unfortunate part of our game. Those injuries occurred. But, his talent level, his appreciation for the game, work ethic, study habits, all those things were there. And it's unfortunate that he didn't get to show that on the field and continue to progress on the field. But he's a tremendous talent, tremendous person, player. So I know he'll learn from this and be better moving forward.
Moving forward, what would you want him to work on, and what can you take from what you saw to get better at X, Y, or Z?
Yeah, I'm not sure. The injuries they happen. So I don't know if there's a way to be like, hey, you got to play a certain style or do this or do that. The last year he played in all 19 games, and so I think it's just more of continue to work at your craft and continue to be the leader you want to be, and all those things are going to take him to the next level and become the player and leader he wants to be. I don't think there's anything specific that I'm going to try and direct him, like techniques or fundamentals to playing the position. More so just if you go through the tough times and the tough games and the tough seasons, hey, continue to learn from that. And those are usually when you learn the most. So what did we learn and how can we improve from here?
Kliff, with Jayden is a young quarterback now that he's had success, but he's also seen the counters that they're going to how does processing improve for young veterans as they continue to develop and grow as players?
Yeah, I think just the more you see, there's so many defensive schemes now, and people are doing so much more than they used to in the past. I think the more reps on task you can get full speed, even at practice from your own defense, it just makes you better and better, and the game slows down. I've seen that with Marcus, like just watching his style of play and the way he talks through plays and defenses and schemes and things like that. He's just seen so much. Josh now too. They've seen so much when you talk to him. There's really nothing that they can throw at him that they haven't seen on some level, and I think that'll come with Jayden as well. But just time on task, as many reps as he can get, and continue to just work his tail off to be the best player he can be.
Is it important, because there'll be additions obviously to the receiver room, to the tight end room as the offseason goes, but is it important for Jayden to get with the guys that are going to be here going forward in a maybe non-official way during the offseason to kind of go over some things, just go through some reps, go through some film?
Yeah, I think that's big. I think you look at some of the all-time greats, like Brady would have those guys come up to Montana and run routes with their helmets on, and Pat has those guys down to Dallas with the Chiefs. So I think anytime you get that rapport, more time on task with those guys, the better off that they tend to play.
Kliff Kingsbury loves the phrase time on task. Have you noticed that? He loves that phrase, time on task. He says that over and over and over again. That phrase, time on task, is to Kliff Kingsbury what the phrase in that space is to Dan Quinn. Yes, way too little time on task for Jayden Daniels this season. That easily is one of the worst parts of this season, right? This was a wasted season of Jayden Daniels in season number 2 on his rookie contract, coming off his all-time great rookie season. Now, something that I have appreciated about Kliff Kingsbury at his press conferences over his 2 seasons as Commanders offensive coordinator has been that he has not been shy about being critical of himself. He on Thursday morning was critical of himself, but he also defended a key aspect of his offense, no huddle. We on Thursday morning had this back and forth between Commanders insider Ben Standing of Last Man Standing on Substack and Kliff Kingsbury.
Kliff, obviously, we discussed all along, but the injuries just, crushed momentum. But when you look back at choices that you made along the way, maybe whether play calling or how you view personnel, whatever, is there anything you look back on and think, okay, maybe missed the mark on something or something you could change if you could kind of do it again?
Yeah, I think when you go through these seasons, it's always best to start with yourself, point at yourself and then figure out what you could do better and then collectively what we could do better. But there's a ton of different decisions I wish we would have made and I would have made and more just like individual play calls than anything. Our style of play was a bit different, like I said, trying to slow the games down, limit possessions, do things of that nature. But yeah, there are a ton of things I wish I would have done better as far as scheme and maximizing players and things of that nature. But that's, an off-season kind of project when we do our self-scout, self-evaluations.
Sort of to that point, like you've had a lot of success with the system you run going back to college. You are also the guy who runs it more, the no-huddle, hurry-up, than everybody by a fair margin. What gives you the confidence that in this time of the league with this quarterback, et cetera, that this is the right way to go, kind of the way you've been going? Yeah,
I've seen it done at a high level, whether it's Arizona or here, at a very high level and won games and had a lot of yards, a lot of success in that regard. So I think I'm pretty confident, in that style of play when the pieces are there that you can play at a really high level and it's a very challenging offense to stop.
It is amazing the extent to which the Commanders, with Kliff Kingsbury as offensive coordinator, go no huddle more than every other NFL team. The Commanders for this regular season through Week 17 per Sharp Football Analysis are number 1 in the NFL and no huddle rate 63.9%. Number 2 is the New Orleans Saints at 22.5%. How about that? Commanders number 1, 63.9%. Saints number 2, 22.5%. I'm a big fan of no-huddle offense, so I have no problem with this, and also like that this is our team zigging while everyone else is zagging. But wow, you talk about being on an island. That's the Commanders with their extreme usage of no-huddle with Kliff Kingsbury as offensive coordinator. We end this lost season for our team. Can at least say this. A player on the team has won the Pepsi Zero Sugar Rookie of the Week award yet again. Running back Jacory Croskey-Merritt, he on Thursday morning was named a Pepsi Zero Sugar Rookie of the Week for Week 17 of the NFL's 2025 regular season off what he did in the loss to the Cowboys on Christmas afternoon. 11 carries for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns, no targets, played on 64% of the Commanders' offensive snaps. He for the game had an overall grade per Pro Football Focus of 69.5. That's good. PFF grades are on a scale of 0 to 100. 60 is average. Croskey-Merritt also won this award for weeks 1, 5, and 15. And Commanders receiver and punt returner Jaylen Lane, he won the award for week 3. There's also this, Jayden Daniels. He last season dominated this award, set a record for most Pepsi Rookie of the Week awards for a player in a regular season 11. And Commanders cornerback Mikey Sainristil, he won the Pepsi Zero Sugar Rookie of the Week award for Week 18 of the 2024 regular season. The Pepsi Rookie of the Week award started with the 2002 regular season. The Commanders have owned this award since the start of last regular season. So, hey, at least we do have that. But regarding Jacory Croskey-Merritt, we on Thursday morning had this exchange between Tom Shad and Kliff Kingsbury.
We asked you a lot about Bill this year. I think he just took home his 4th Rookie of the Week award. And we know his path, 7th rounder, things like that. What's in your opinion, his ceiling? How good can he be?
Yeah, I just think it remains to be seen. I mean, he's a guy who hasn't played a lot of football in the last few years, but he loves to play. When he touches the ball, good things happen. He has some real natural ability of finding the soft spot, balance, plays with a downhill lean. A lot of things he just does naturally, and I think as he learns how to play away from the football more, the pass pro stuff, the pass game, I think he'll just become better and better. But really excited to see where that goes. Like, some of the plays he's made as a guy who's just kind of figuring it out has been really impressive.
So Jacory Croskey-Merritt for this regular season through Week 17 is number 11 out of 50 qualified NFL players per Pro Football Reference, and rushing success rate 55.6. Up and down rookie season for him. But look, the Commanders took this guy in the 7th round of the 2025 NFL Draft out of the University of Arizona. He is a 7th round rookie. That he is number 11 out of 50 qualified players in the NFL in rushing success rate is pretty impressive. And then I did want to talk about linebacker Jordan Magee. So it, to me, is a strange deal with this guy. Dan Quinn and also Joe Witt Jr., during his time as Commanders defensive coordinator, have talked up Jordan Magee a lot. The team does seem to think highly of Magee, who it took in the 5th round of the 2024 NFL Draft at a Temple, and yet Jordan Magee still, even in this lost season, isn't playing a ton. He has played on more than half of the Commanders' defensive snaps in a game just twice over the last 7 games. Makes no sense, especially considering that one of the Commanders' starting linebackers, Bobby Wagner, is set to be an unrestricted free agent this coming offseason. How can the Commanders know if Jordan Magee can take over for Bobby Wagner if the team doesn't have Magee do what Wagner does for a game or 2 or more? And when I say do what Wagner does, that includes wearing the green dot. The green dot on a player's helmet in the NFL signifies the player wearing a helmet with a built-in radio receiver for one-way communication from coaches, allowing them to relay plays/calls to the player. The signal cuts off with 15 seconds left on the play clock. We are down to the Commanders' final game of the season. Could it be? Might it be? Hopefully it will be. That Jordan Magee in this game at the Eagles this Sunday will be wearing the green dot. I'd love to see that. We, during Dan Quinn's pre-practice press conference on Wednesday afternoon, had this back and forth between Nikki Javala and Quinn.
Inside linebacker, when you're evaluating a guy like Jordan Magee, how do you know he's ready for that role, since it comes with the added responsibilities,
right,
with the green dot,
sure,
if he doesn't do it in game?
Yeah. The part that you want to do is like, how do you train somebody into that space? And some of it is in practice, you have, a number of them that can have it on. So they're hearing my communication. So what we would never want is on the first time you heard it like, oh, that's what Dan sounds like, or that's what it sounds like. And so you go through that process in the practice. So when he takes his reps in the practice, if he was with the second or the third group, it's the same exact process that I would do with Wags. Hey, this down and distance, remind this player, alert for this. So there's a little bit of directing that comes of it. Think if you were a quarterback in the huddle and you want to give one more reminder before you broke out to somebody, you would tell them that. That's sometimes what I'm telling that person to do into that spot. And then going in, you want to find out, did they do it in college in signals? And now it'll be different, I suppose, because that's been an additional thing that they're doing that we haven't done before. But just the leading part of it, I think that's the big thing, the vocal part of it. Doesn't mean you have to be loud and rah-rah, but you have to be somebody that can take command, that can give information quickly. And not all linebackers can do that. There's been times where I've had safeties more into that space that, in fact, had the green dot. We've done it with the linebackers here, but at other teams, I've done it with the safety having it as well.
What did you see from him in college that made you feel like he could take on that bigger role? And then what have you seen from him since?
Yeah. I think the traits I saw first as the ball player, number one, the speed, him being square at linebacker, his closing ability. Adam has a cool ranking service of, like, as you get into this part of the draft, like, who's the one person that you want on your team, and he asks all the scouts before the day even begins. And he was the first one of that group that, like, he said it. And so I thought that's a pretty good sign about the traits that were shown about him. It's harder to know in the process, okay, I see him calling it, leading it, doing those things. But if you get on the board, you see his football acumen, then you could we'll develop him into that.
All right. I actually found all of that from Dan Quinn interesting, but that doesn't change me wanting to see Jordan Magee in this game at the Eagles this Sunday, playing a lot and performing the Bobby Wagner role, i.e. wearing the green dot. The winter cold, not good for your skin. Punching hard objects in your house due to being angry about the Commander season, not good for your skin. The best product for skincare is OneSkin. OneSkin formulas are powered by the OS1 peptide, a patented peptide built on longevity science proven to target aging at the cellular level. OneSkin supports the cellular repair that keeps your skin looking and feeling better as you get older. This is not about adding extra steps to your routine. No, this is about swapping in smarter steps. Born from over 10 years of longevity research, OneSkin's OS1 peptide is proven to target the cells that cause the visible signs of aging, helping you unlock your healthiest skin now and as you age. And for a limited time, OneSkin is making it even easier to stay consistent with up to 30% off your first 3 subscription orders when you use the promo code GALDY at oneskin.co/Galdi. That's oneskin.co/Galdi and use the promo code GALDI. oneskin.co/Galdi, up to 30% off with that promo code GALDI. And after you purchase, you'll be asked where you heard about OneSkin. Please support our show and say that Al Galdi sent you. And so here we are, the final days of Operation Lose Out 2.0, rooting for the Washington Commanders to play well, but lose their remaining games in this lost season for the purpose of maximizing positioning in the 2026 NFL Draft. We have the 4-12 Commanders at the 11-5 Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday afternoon at 4:25 in Week 18 of the NFL's 2025 regular season. The Commanders, as we speak, have the number 7 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. They in the draft will get no worse than that number 7 overall pick and could get as high as the number 2 overall pick. Yes, number 2 is a possibility, though that would require a lot breaking in the Commanders' favor in Week 18. Meantime, The Eagles, they for this game on Sunday are expected to not play a number of key players. So the Commanders' 29-18 loss to the Eagles at Northwest Stadium on December 20th resulted in the Eagles clinching the NFC East, marking the first time that a team has won the NFC East in each of at least 2 consecutive regular seasons. Since the Eagles won the NFC East over 4 consecutive regular seasons, 2001 through 2004, the Eagles for this regular season cannot finish worse than the number 3 seed in the NFC, but they can get the number 2 seed, though them doing so would involve them winning this game against the Commanders this Sunday. The Commanders have lost 10 of their last 11 games, have gone from 3-2 to 4-12. Man, that is unreal. From 3-2 to 4-12. Will our team successfully conclude Operation Loseout 2.0 with a loss? My friends, it is that time. The time to rhyme. It is time for the season finale of Rhyming Keys. Rhyming Keys for the Commanders in their game at the Eagles to do some good things, but lose as we are wrapping up Operation Loseout 2.0. We are wrapping up OLO, and these Rhyming Keys for this Week 18 are of utmost importance. Now, these rhymes, they are not meant to be good, and they are not good. They are only meant to make a few points. In fact, we have a saying for this segment, indeed a rhyme for the segment. The saying is counterintuitive, but trust me, the saying is true. The worse the rhyme, the better the time. And so, let's have a good time. Here we go. Hardcore analysis combined with scheduled fun. Rhyming keys for the Commanders in their game at the Eagles to do some good things, but lose. Rhyming key number 1. This is for younger Commanders players. When it comes to this game, we're not in it to win it, but let's see some good stuff from younger players like Ben Sinnott. I have zero interest in the Commanders winning at the Eagles this Sunday, but I have major interest in first, second, and third-year Commanders players in this game doing well. Those guys include running backs Jacory Croskey-Merritt and Chris Rodriguez Jr., tight end Ben Sinnott, right tackle Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle/guard Brandon Coleman, who we do expect to start at left tackle for the injured Laramie Tunsil, interior defensive lineman Johnny Newton, linebacker Jordan Magee, and yes, cornerback Mikey Sainristil and safety Quan Martin, even though each of those guys has had a really rough season. But remember, OLO isn't about rooting for the Commanders to not play well. OLO is about threading the needle. OLO involves rooting for the Commanders, especially younger players, to do well, but for the team to lose for the purpose of maximizing positioning in the 2026 NFL Draft. We, during OLO, have seen some good things from a good number of the players who I just mentioned. Let's see more. And so rhyming key number 1, this for younger Commanders players. When it comes to this game, we're not in it to win it, but let's see some good stuff from younger players like Ben Sinnott. Rhyming keys for the Commanders in their game at the Eagles to do some good things, but lose. Rhyming key number 2, this is for Commanders defensive backs. In this season of bad performing, we may need the giving up of a clutch TD a la Josh Norman. So I currently am conducting Operation Loseout 2.0. I did Operation Loseout 1.0 during the Commanders' 2023 regular season, but the roots of OLO go back to before I was doing this podcast. I first championed Washington losing out in a regular season during the Redskins' hideous 2019 regular season, in which they went 3-13 and got the number 2 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. Never mind what they did with that pick. But I did this championing on my radio show with the DOC, Doc Walker, on the Team 980. Doc was vehemently against what I was doing, but I did what I did, and I was right for doing what I did. And my friend Doc, to his credit, has since admitted that. An unforgettable moment in the Skins going 3-13 in the 2019 regular season to get the number 2 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft came in a game against the Eagles. December 15th, 2019, a 37-27 loss to the Eagles at FedEx Field. Cornerback Josh Norman, he for this game was benched for a 4th consecutive game. He played on just 6 defensive snaps, but one of those snaps was him getting beat by receiver Greg Ward Jr. on Eagles quarterback and future Commanders quarterback Carson Wentz's go-ahead first and goal, 4-yard, under center play-action touchdown pass to Ward with 26 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Who is Greg Ward? He's a guy who had been cut or released by the Eagles 6 different times and who played for the San Antonio Commanders. How about that? Of the defunct Alliance of American Football. It was if the Skins were tanking and put Josh Norman, seldom used at that point, in the game for the purpose of giving up a touchdown. Josh Norman was the closer. He was like a closer in baseball. He was like Mariano Rivera closing out a crucial Skins loss. That play cracks me up to this day. Josh Norman, our guy Jano, getting beat by Greg Ward in a key loss for the Skins in that 2019 regular season. This has been a woeful season for Commanders defensive backs. As I said earlier in the segment, I do want to see younger DBs like Mikey Sainristil and Quan Martin play well in this game, but I wouldn't mind another Commanders DB getting beat for a key touchdown if that is the difference between winning and losing this game. And so, rhyming key number 2, this for Commanders defensive backs. In this season of bad performing, we may need the giving up of a clutch TD a la Josh Norman. Hey, I told you that these rhymes are not good. Rhyming keys for the Commanders in their game at the Eagles to do some good things, but lose. Rhyming key number 3. This is for Eagles kicker Jake Elliott. Yes, the ultra-rare rhyming key for an opposing player. Here we go. We plead, we beg. Come through like Greg the Leg. The defining moment of Operation Loseout 1.0 came on Christmas Eve 2023, a 30-28 Commanders loss at the New York Jets in a game in which the Commanders overcame a 27-7 halftime deficit. We will never forget our hero, our Olo Knight in shining armor, Jets kicker Greg Zuerlein, a.k.a. Greg the Leg. He connected on a 54-yard field goal for a 30-28 Jets lead with 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter for a kick that was massive in the Commanders getting the number 2 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Greg Zuerlein, we as Washington fans are forever indebted to you. This Sunday, if the game is close, if the moment arrives, Jake Elliott, we as Washington fans need you to come through. I would have no problem with the Commanders playing in a tough, inspired, admirable way, but losing on a late field goal by Jake Elliott. And so rhyming key number 3, this for Jake Elliott. We plead, we beg. Come through like Greg the Leg. All right, it is prediction time. The consensus line per Action Network for this game as of Thursday afternoon was Commanders +4. This game could go any number of ways, given A, how injury-ravaged the Commanders are, B, that this is the final game for the Commanders in a lost season, and C, that the Eagles in this game, we believe, are not playing a number of key guys. Those 3 items right there make this what you call a high-variance game in terms of realistic outcomes. But I will take the Commanders. They lose, but on a late Jake Elliott field goal. Yes, shades of Greg the Leg on Christmas Eve 2023. Final score, Eagles 30, Commanders 27. Hey, if you are planning a wedding or you know someone who is, check out or have that person check out cateringbyuptown.com. Catering by Uptown delivers not just delicious food of the highest quality, but also a flawless and memorable experience tailored to your special day. Catering by Uptown's team is dedicated to meeting your every need with elegance and precision. And if you visit cateringbyuptown.com and click on venues, you can set up your own personal tour of one of Catering by Uptown's premier venues, including outstanding waterfront venues. So also, Catering by Uptown is great for parties, so whether a birthday, an anniversary, a retirement, or a charity gala, Catering by Uptown understands that special events deserve to be celebrated in style. Catering by Uptown takes care of every detail so that you can enjoy your event. Catering by Uptown is a family business. It is run by the Pereiras, who are great Commanders fans and loyal supporters of this podcast. Visit cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. That's cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. Well, believe it or not, we have arrived at the numerical midpoint of the Washington Capitals 2025-2026 regular season. 41 games down, 41 games to go. The Caps' record is 21-15-5. That's good. Their goal differential is plus 15. That's good. But the Caps now are just 4-6-3 over their last 13 games. 2 afternoon games for the Caps over the last 2 days. So Wednesday afternoon, New Year's Eve afternoon, a 6-3 win over the New York Rangers at Capital One Arena. Thursday afternoon, New Year's Day afternoon, a 4-3 loss at the Ottawa Senators. So the Caps at the end of the first period held a 2-0 lead, but they then lost the rest of the game 4-1. Goaltending for the Caps in these games. The win over the Rangers on Wednesday afternoon. The Caps starting goaltender was their number 2 goaltender, Charlie Lindgren. He stopped 22 of the 25 shots on goal that he faced, but I thought that he played pretty well. Lindgren, per natural stat trick, stopped 11 of the 12 high-danger shots on goal that he faced. The Caps had 27 shots on goal to the Rangers' 25, but per natural stat trick had 54 5-on-5 shot attempts to the Rangers' 57, including just 10 5-on-5 high-danger shot attempts to the Rangers' 17. The loss at the Senators on Thursday afternoon, the Caps starting goaltender was their number 1 goaltender, Logan Thompson. He stopped just 28 of the 32 shots on goal that he faced. Not a good game for him. The Caps lost the puck possession battle. They had 29 shots on goal to the Senators' 32, and per natural stat trick had 37 5-on-5 shot attempts to the Senators' 46, including 7 5-on-5 high-danger shot attempts to the Senators' 9. So the Caps over these 2 games per natural stat trick had just 17 5-on-5 high-danger shot attempts to the opposing team's 26. Not the greatest process for the Caps in these games. Mixed last 2 days for the Caps penalty kill. The win over the Rangers on Wednesday afternoon, the Caps went 0 for 1 on the penalty kill. But the loss at the Senators on Thursday afternoon, the Caps went 4 for 4 on the penalty kill. The biggest bright spots for our Caps over these 2 games were wingers Tom Wilson and Alexi Protas and center Justin Sordiff. All 3 of these guys did well. Tom Wilson, he is on fire. He now has 5 goals and 3 assists over his last 3 games. The win over the Rangers on Wednesday afternoon, Wilson, as the Caps' second-line right wing, had a Gordie Howe hat trick. A goal, an assist, and a fight. Wilson scored 2 goals, giving him 200 career NHL regular season goals. He scored an even-strength goal 7:33 into the second period and scored an even-strength goal 16:37 into the third period. Also, he had a primary assist. He had a team-high 10 total shot attempts, including a team-high tying 4 shots on goal. He had a game-high 4 hits, and he was number 1 on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 67.65. The Caps with Wilson on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game had 23 shot attempts versus allowing 11 shot attempts. He did receive a second period 5-minute fighting major, but again, that gave him a Gordie Howe hat trick, a goal, an assist, and a fight. And all of this happened just hours after Hockey Canada announced that Wilson and Logan Thompson had been selected to Team Canada for the Olympic Winter Games Milano Cortina 2026. Congrats to Tom Wilson and Logan Thompson. And then the loss at the Senators on Thursday afternoon. Wilson, as the Caps' second-line right wing, scored an even-strength goal 8:13 into the first period for his team-leading 22nd goal in this regular season. He had a secondary assist for his 20th assist in this regular season, in which he is number 3 on the Caps in assists. He was number 2 on the Caps with 3 hits, and he was number 3 on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 52.63. The Caps with Wilson on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game had 10 shot attempts versus allowing 9 shot attempts. Man, Tom Wilson has been so good so far this season. Also really good, Alexi Protas. He, over his last 8 games now, has 6 goals and 5 assists. The win over the Rangers on Wednesday afternoon, Protas, as the Caps' top-line right wing, scored an even-strength goal 13:34 into the third period, and he had a secondary assist for his 15th assist in this regular season. The loss at the Senators on Thursday afternoon, Protas, as the Caps' top-line left wing, scored an even-strength goal 15:53 into the third period for his 16th goal in this regular season, in which he is number 2 on the Caps in goals. He was number 4 on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 52.38. The Caps with Protas on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game had 11 shot attempts versus allowing 10 shot attempts. And Justin Sordiff, who is playing center as the Caps continue to try to figure out center, with center Pierre-Luc Dubois out for a while. He on November 7th underwent surgery to address injuries to his abdominal and adductor muscles, so was expected to miss 3 to 4 months. The win over the Rangers on Wednesday afternoon, sort of as the Caps' second-line center scored 2 goals, giving him 5 goals in this regular season. He scored a power play goal, 11-12, into the second period as the Caps went 1 for 3 on the power play, and he scored an even-strength empty net goal, 19-11, into the third period, and he was number 2 on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 65.71. The Caps with Sordif on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game had 23 shot attempts versus allowing 12 shot attempts. The loss at the Senators on Thursday afternoon, Sordif, as the Caps' second-line center, had 2 primary assists and received a first-period 5-minute fighting major. The Caps in the loss at the Senators on Thursday afternoon went 1 for 4 on the power play. Top-line center Dylan Strome, he scored a power play goal, 18:59 into the first period for his 9th goal in this regular season. Also, he had a team-high tying 4 shots on goal and went 12-6 on faceoffs, but he also registered a game-worst plus-minus rating of -3 and committed a first-period slashing minor. If you're curious about the Great 8, Alex Ovechkin, so he now has just 1 goal over his last 13 games. So the win over the Rangers on Wednesday afternoon, Ovi is the Caps' top-line left wing, had a primary assist for his 19th assist in this regular season. He's number 4 on the Caps in assists, and he had a team-high tying 4 shots on goal, but he was 4th to last on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 35. The Caps, with Ovi on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game, had 7 shot attempts versus allowing 13 shot attempts. The loss at the Senators on Thursday afternoon, Ovi is the Caps' top-line right wing, had no points, registered a plus-minus rating of -2, and committed a first-period high sticking minor, but he did have a team-high tying 4 shots on goal and did dish out a game-high tying 4 hits. He was tied for number 5 on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 50. The Caps, with Ovi on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game, had 10 shot attempts versus allowing 10 shot attempts. So Alex Ovechkin is doing some good things, but bottom line, just 1 goal over his last 13 games. The Caps' healthy scratches for these games. The win over the Rangers on Wednesday afternoon, the Caps' healthy scratches were winger Sonny Milano and defenseman Trevor Van Riemsdyk and Declan Chisholm. The loss at the Senators on Thursday afternoon, the Caps' healthy scratches were winger Sonny Milano and defenseman Dylan McElrath and Declan Chisholm. Next up for the Caps is one game this weekend, home to the Chicago Blackhawks, Saturday night at 7. The 2026 NBA Draft is the final draft in which the Washington Wizards could convey a first-round pick as part of the John Wall, Russell Westbrook trade of December 2020. Per reports, the first-round pick for the 2026 NBA Draft is top 8 protected, and if the pick is not conveyed by the 2026 NBA Draft, then the pick becomes a second-round pick in the 2026 NBA Draft and a second-round pick in the 2027 NBA Draft. We have assumed that our rebuilding and tanking Wizards in the NBA's 2025-2026 regular season will be bad enough to not lose that first-round pick, but what if they're not? The Wizards now have won 5 of their last 9 games. Our Wizards improved to 8-24 with a 114-113 win at the Milwaukee Bucks on Wednesday night. Quite the New Year's Eve for our Wizards. Now, they blew a 10-point fourth-quarter lead, but they got a game-winning 17-foot pull-up, fall-away, right baseline contested jumper by C.J. McCollum for a 114-113 lead with 1 second left in the fourth quarter. Here was a call of the play. Chris Miller and Drew Gooden on Monumental Sports Network.
Porter inside. Footwork was great. Missed. Giannis missed that shot. Here comes CJ. 5 seconds to go. CJ, fall-away jumper. Got it! CJ McCollum! Are you kidding?
Oh, my God, Chris.
What a bucket!
Great call by Chris Miller and Drew Gooden. What a shot that was by C.J. McCollum. He, in 32 minutes, 22 seconds as a starter, had 18 points, 4 assists versus 1 turnover and 4 rebounds. He went 3 for 6 on threes, just 4 for 9 on twos, and 1 for 2 on free throws. And he surpassed 16,000 regular season points in his NBA career. The Wizards' defense was mixed. They allowed the Bucks to go 16 for 39 on threes, but did hold the Bucks to just 25 for 50 on twos, and did total 8 steals and generating 15 Bucks turnovers. So the Wizards' offense was mixed. They went just 22 for 55 on twos and just 13 for 20 on free throws. But the Wizards also went 19 for 39 on threes and had 31 assists versus just 10 turnovers, and outscoring the Bucks in terms of points off turnovers 23-4. But the best part about the Wizards' recent success is that it is coming on the backs of the team's key young players. So the Wizards are banged up. Chris Middleton on Wednesday night did return from a 1-game absence caused by right knee injury management, but Keyshawn George did not play for a 3rd consecutive game due to left hip flexor soreness. Corey Kispert did not play for a 4th consecutive game due to a left hamstring strain, and Cam Whitmore was not available for a 7th consecutive game, this due to upper extremity deep vein thrombosis. But 4 key young players for the Wizards, Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson, and Bilal Coulibaly, combined for 64 of the Wizards' 114 points. Alex Sarr, he in 28-23 as a starter, had 20 points, 11 rebounds, including 4 offensive boards, 4 blocks, and 2 assists versus 2 turnovers. He went 1 for 2 on threes, 6 for 13 on twos, and 5 for 6 on free throws. But his block of a putback layup attempt by the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, set up that C.J. McCollum game-winning shot. Bub Carrington, he continues to be so much better off his bad start to this season. He in just 23-43 off the bench had 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists versus 2 turnovers. He went 6 for 11 on threes, 1 for 3 on twos, and 0 for 1 on free throws. And Trey Johnson, he in 28-22 as a starter, had 14 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists versus 1 turnover. He went 4 for 7 on threes. It did go just 1 for 6 on twos. He did not attempt a free throw. I do not want the Wizards to not have their first-round pick in the 2026 NBA draft, but I do want the Wizards' key young players to do well and prove to be a viable nucleus for a team that ultimately contends for an NBA title. Yes, I did say NBA title. Don't laugh. The ideal inside straight scenario for our rebuilding and tanking Wizards this season, of course, is that the key young players develop nicely and the team keeps its first-round pick in the 2026 NBA draft. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm rooting for. So these wins are nice and encouraging. But yeah, let's not have too many of them. Here was Wizards head coach Brian Keefe during his post-game press conference late night on Wednesday night on the game-winning sequence and on his team's overall performance.
We were looking for either a quick 3 or a quick 2. If we got the quick 2, we wouldn't have to foul. We didn't foul because we had a time difference there. The guys executed that. And then, obviously, Alex made a huge block. And then we thought we just had an open court in transition. I trust our guys. Obviously, CJ made a big play. So it was like a great execution by us down the stretch. Really good. But I thought just overall the whole game was like really a team effort. Bench came in, was terrific. AJ, who had not been in the rotation, stepped up, played really great tonight. Those guys really gave us a burst really at the end of the first, start of the second, end of the third, start of the fourth. And then we had some resilience in there, too. We were struggling to score a little bit there, but we buckled down, got some stops, and we got the win. It was just a great team effort. And obviously a shout-out to CJ. Got 16,000 points. That's really hard to do. There's not a lot of guys. I think it's like the number, I think, is 129 guys have done this in the NBA history. That's not a lot. That's quite an honor, and it's great to have him on our team.
All right, next up for the Wizards are 2 games this weekend. Home to the Brooklyn Nets Friday night at 7 and home to the Minnesota Timberwolves Sunday evening at 6. Hey, start off 2026 with the best financial security that you've ever had. Cash App. It is the best way to make sure that your financial transactions are safe. You can stay one step ahead of scams and keep your money secure with Cash App. Cash App's 24/7 fraud monitoring helps detect and alert you for unusual card activity should someone gain access to your card so you can act fast if something seems off. You also can lock or unlock your Cash App card instantly right in the app for extra control and peace of mind. And if you're about to send money to someone for a deal that's too good to be true, and Cash App flags the deal as a potential scam, Cash App will warn you before you send the money. Cash App is here for you, and for a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use Cash App's exclusive code to earn some additional cash for real. Just download Cash App. Use the exclusive referral code SECURE10 in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partner or partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. And let's talk college basketball. The Georgetown Hoyas, they on Wednesday night played their first game since a 97-67 blowout of Coppin State at McDonough Arena on the campus of Georgetown on December 22nd, a game for which Georgetown head coach Ed Cooley served a one-game suspension issued by the school. This for at the end of an 80-77 loss to Xavier at Capital One Arena on December 20th, accidentally hitting a child and the child's mom via throwing a water bottle in frustration. Cooley just so happened to be back for a Big East game for the Hoyas, but they did lose. Georgetown in the 2025-2026 regular season fell to 9-5 overall, including 1-2 in the Big East, with a 95-83 loss to St. John's at Capital One Arena on Wednesday night. Georgetown trailed for all of the second half. The Hoyas in the first half held a 7-point lead at 38-31. They then lost the rest of the game 64-45. Georgetown's defense had problems, so the Hoyas allowed St. John's to score 95 points, go 15 for 27 on threes, and have 20 assists versus 11 turnovers. So the Hoyas did hold St. John's to just 15 for 33 on twos, but St. John's went 20 for 26 on free throws, and Georgetown got worked by one of the best players in the country, 6'9" Zuby Ejiofor. He, in just 29 minutes as a starter, had 25 points, 10 rebounds, including 5 offensive boards, 7 assists versus 2 turnovers and 2 steals. He went 1 for 2 on threes, 6 for 7 on twos, and 10 for 13 on free throws. So here was Ed Cooley during his post-game press conference late night on Wednesday night on the Hoyas' defense in this game.
Couple of things, there are days where the ball goes in the basket, and you got to give them a lot of credit, right? I thought they had some open shots that they made, and they made some contested ones. And there are days where the ball does go in the basket. You got to give them a lot of credit. When you look at a veteran team, okay, Ejiofor, senior, Hopkins, fifth-year senior, Sellers, senior, like their senior-laden team playing against still the youngest team in the Big East, right? We scored enough points to win today. You score 83 points at home, you got to win the game. So we got to concentrate more on what we do. They shot the ball well. They played the ball right. Ejiofor, preseason player of the year. He was a man in there. He was a man amongst boys in there. So you got to give them credit. Physically, we were overwhelmed today. So give them credit. We'll get better because of this game. I'm so happy 2025 is done, right? We've lost 2 consecutive home games in this building. We got to find a way to get it back. And the season's long, right? We're 3 games in. We play 20. So there's a lot of games left to play. Love my team, excited about my team. We got to find a way to get our defensive identity back, and we will do that. We will do that. It's frustrating to see the ball going through the net at a high volume. Man, did it go through at a high volume. That's not their norm, but they had a day today. It's the end of the year. Give them credit. We'll move on, slap them on the back and say, hey, hopefully we can defend better next game.
Yes, hopefully. Georgetown went 9 for 21 on threes. That's good, but also went just 19 for 40 on twos. That is bad. 45 of Georgetown's 83 points came from just 2 guys, KJ Lewis and Malik Mack. 6'4" Arizona transfer KJ Lewis. He, in just 28 minutes as a starter, had 27 points, 3 steals, and 3 rebounds. He went just 1 for 5 on threes, but also 7 for 13 on twos and 10 for 10 on free throws. And 6'2" Malik Mack, he, in 39 minutes as as a starter, had 18 points, 8 assists versus no turnovers and 3 rebounds. He went 4 for 7 on threes, did go just 3 for 8 on twos, did not attempt a free throw. But a rough game for one of the Hoyas' most important players, 7-foot New Zealand native Julius Halaifanua. He played for just 12 minutes as a starter. He had no points, no rebounds, and 3 fouls. Did have a block, did have 2 assists versus no turnovers. Next up for Georgetown at DePaul, Tuesday night at 8. How about number 21 Virginia at Virginia Tech on Wednesday afternoon? Virginia Tech in this regular season improved to 12-2 overall, including 1-0 in the ACC, with a 95-85 triple overtime win over number 21 Virginia at Castle Coliseum in Blacksburg, Virginia on Wednesday afternoon. UVA for this regular season fell to 11-2 overall, including 0-1 in the ACC. Virginia for this game was a 5.5-point favorite per multiple outlets, so was without a key player in 6'3 North Dakota State transfer Jacory White. He did not play for a second consecutive game due to a wrist injury, but Virginia Tech won this game despite being without 3 key players. So 6'8 Toby Lowell, he did not play for an 8th consecutive game due to a left ankle injury. 7-foot true freshman Antonio Dorn of Germany, he did not play for a second consecutive game due to a back injury. And 6'5 Tyler Johnson, he did not play due to a left ankle injury. The game featured 21 lead changes and 17 ties. Virginia Tech finally pulled away via winning the third overtime 17-7. Each team was good defensively. Virginia Tech held Virginia to just 10 for 45 on threes, just 22 for 44 on twos, and 15 assists versus 17 turnovers. But UVA held Tech to just 9 for 28 on threes, just 20 for 54 on twos, and just 12 assists versus 14 turnovers. This game was not the prettiest game. 6 players in the game each scored at least 17 points, but the game's leading scorer was 5'11 Ben Hammond of Virginia Tech. Ben Hammond, a product of St. Paul VI Catholic High School, PVI, in Chantilly, Virginia. He, in 42 minutes, 24 seconds off the bench, had 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists versus no turnovers, and 2 steals. He went to 7 for 16 from the field, all twos, but also 16 for 18 on free throws. A tremendous performance by Ben Hammond. During the post-game press conference, Virginia Tech head coach Mike Young on Wednesday afternoon had this back and forth.
Thomas.
Coach, Ben Hammond with 30 points.
Oh, my gosh. He was awesome. He's cramping unlike any young man I've coached in the locker room right now. He was exceptional. I may have cut you off. Sorry, Thomas. Go ahead.
What did you see from him throughout the game, and then how he took over and over?
What didn't I see? And it was both ends of the floor. He created havoc for the Cavaliers down there with a couple of things. He missed one. The 3 that Dallin banked in, I think, Ben went after one, and a one that you got to get. If you don't, that thing's going to spray over here for a made 3, and that's what happened. Didn't expect it to be banked. That was a bit unfortunate, but that's the way it went down. Ben Hammond was arguably, he was the best player on the floor today. How could you dispute that? Really proud of Ben.
Yeah, great win for the Hokies. Next up for Virginia Tech at Wake Forest Saturday at noon. Next up for Virginia at NC State Saturday morning at 11. And props to George Mason. It, in this regular season, improved to 13-1 overall, including 1-0 in the A-10 with an 80-75 win at LaSalle on Wednesday afternoon. The Patriots overcame an 11-point first-half deficit. But the most remarkable aspect of this game, Mason committed 0 turnovers. Yes, 0 turnovers, 12 assists versus 0 turnovers. So Mason at 13-1 is off to the best 14-game start to a regular season in program history. Next up for George Mason, home to Rhode Island, Saturday afternoon at 4. And that'll do it for you and me for now. Keep the feedback coming. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Monday show, episode 1231. We'll have a lot for you on the Washington Commanders. In-depth reaction and analysis off the end of their wonderful 2025 season. We have the 4-12 Commanders at the 11-5 Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday afternoon at 4:25 in Week 18 of the NFL's 2025 regular season. Also on Monday's show, I'll discuss the Washington Capitals, the Washington Wizards, college basketball, and Navy football. The Caps have one game this weekend, home to the Chicago Blackhawks Saturday night at 7. The Wizards have two games this weekend, home to the Brooklyn Nets Friday night at 7, and home to the Minnesota Timberwolves Sunday evening at 6. College basketball this weekend includes Maryland home to Oregon Friday night at 7:30. Number 21 Virginia at NC State Saturday morning at 11, and Virginia Tech at Wake Forest Saturday at noon. And we in college football have Navy versus Cincinnati in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee on Friday afternoon at 4:30. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday.
CJ, follow-away jumper, got it! CJ McCollum, are you kidding?
Oh, my God, Chris.
What a bucket!